Buongiorno, my friends. Welcome to my kitchen. I am Chef Marco, and today is very special. I'm going to show you how to make authentic Italian Easter bread, Pane di Pasqua. This recipe has been in my family for 5 generations. My nonna taught my mama taught me, and I taught my children, and now my nipoti, my grandchildren. Easter is the most important celebration in the Italian tradition. And this bread, it is not just food, it tells our story. The wreath shape. This represents the crown of thorns worn by Jesus. The 3 braids, the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And these beautiful colored eggs, they symbolize new life and resurrection. In my village in Calabria, we called this kuzupe, but all across Italy, every region has their own name and little variations. In Sicily, they say kudura cu aliova, in Puglia scartella. But no matter what you call it, the meaning is the same. Celebration, family, and tradition. Today, I invite you into my family. Together, we will make this special bread that has brought joy to Italian tables for centuries. Are you ready? Andiamo, let's begin. First, let me show you what we need. In the old country, we didn't measure with cups and spoons. We measured with our hearts. My nonna would say, Marco, a handful of this, a pinch of that. But today, I will give you the American measurement so you can make it perfect. For our dough, we need 4 cups all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 tablespoon fresh lemon zest. The secret for that special aroma. 2 1/4 teaspoons active dry yeast. That's 1 packet. 1/2 cup whole milk, lukewarm at about 105 degrees Fahrenheit. 2 large eggs at room temperature. 1/4 cup unsalted butter, melted and cooled. 1 teaspoon pure vanilla extract. For decorating, 1 egg mixed with 1 tablespoon water for the egg wash. 6 raw eggs, dyed in beautiful colors, colorful sprinkles, what we call nonpareils. You know, when I was a little boy in Italy, my nonna would send me to the local mill to get our flour freshly ground. I can still hear the sound of the water wheel turning, smell the dusty sweetness in the air. The miller always gave me a little extra for being a good helper. Did you know that this bread tradition goes back thousands of years? Even the ancient Greeks and Romans made special breads for religious celebrations. The name kudura comes from the Greek word kolira, a sacred ring-shaped bread from ancient times. We Italians, we keep our traditions alive. Now, are you ready to begin this journey with me? Let's make something beautiful together. The milk should be warm, like a baby's bath, about 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Not too hot or you will kill the yeast. We add a little sugar to feed the yeast. Like people, yeast needs to eat too. Look, it's alive. This is the magic of bread making. We are working with something living, perfect. Now in my big mixing bowl, this bowl was my mother's and her mother's before her. I combined the flour, sugar, salt and lemon zest. Make a well in the center, like a little volcano. In Italy we have many volcanoes, you know, Vesuvius, Etna. Now we add our yeast mixture and eggs to the center. In the old days we mixed everything by hand. No fancy machines. My papa would say, Marco, you must feel the dough to know it. Now we add the melted butter and vanilla, little by little as we knead. You need to knead for about 8-10 minutes until the dough is smooth and elastic. See how it springs back when I press it? That's how you know it's ready. The dough should be soft but not sticky. If it's too sticky, add a little more flour, a tablespoon at a time. Look at this beautiful dough, soft like a baby's cheek. Now we let the dough rise until it doubles in size. This will take about 1-2 hours, depending on how warm your kitchen is. While we wait, come, sit with me. Let me tell you a story. When I was a young man in Italy, Easter was the most important time of year. After 40 days of Lenten fasting, Easter was a celebration of abundance. My mother-in-law, may she rest in peace, always said mine was too dense. But my wife always asked for seconds, so I knew the truth. In those days we didn't have much, but we had family, faith and food. What more do you need? Look at that. Our dough has doubled. Now we gently punch it down to release the air. This is my favorite part. Sometimes when I'm making bread, I think of someone who has annoyed me, and I punch the dough. Now comes the fun part, shaping our bread. This is where we put our love and creativity into our creation. We will make 1 large wreath. If you want smaller ones, you can divide the dough into 6 parts and make 2 wreaths. Roll each piece like this, using your hands to make a long rope. Not too thin, or it will break when we braid it. Feel the dough respond to your touch. It's alive. Now we braid them together. just like braiding hair, over, under, over, under. When my daughter was little, I would practice braiding her hair. I told her I was practicing for Easter bread. In some parts of Italy, they make different shapes. Baskets, dolls, even crosses. Each shape has its own meaning. But the wreath is the most common. Now we pinch the ends together to make our wreath. See how beautiful, gentle, like carrying a sleeping baby. Now for the special touch, our colored eggs. In the old days, we used natural dyes from vegetables. Red onion skins for purple, beets for pink, spinach for green. My nonna would say the colors had to be bright to celebrate the joy of Easter morning. Today, you can use food coloring, but make sure it's food safe. The eggs go into the oven raw. They will cook as the bread bakes. Press them gently into the dough, like making a little nest for each one. In Italy, we say the eggs represent the rebirth of spring and the resurrection of Christ. Now we let it rise again for about 45 minutes to an hour, until it's puffy and nearly doubled. Perfect! Now our bread is ready for the oven. But first we make it beautiful. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 175 Celsius. Now we brush our bread with egg wash, 1 egg beaten with a tablespoon of water. This will give our bread a beautiful golden shine, like the sun on Easter morning. Be careful not to brush the colored eggs. We want them to keep their beautiful colors. And now, the sprinkles. In Italy, we call these confetti. They make our Easter bread festive and colorful, like little jewels on a crown. Into the oven it goes for about 25-30 minutes until golden brown. If it starts to get too dark, you can cover it loosely with foil. While it bakes, let me tell you something interesting. In some villages in southern Italy, they make these breads not just for Easter Sunday, but also for Easter Monday, what we call Paschetta, or Little Easter. Families pack these breads for picnics in the countryside. The children run and play, the adults talk and laugh, and everyone shares food and stories. This bread connects us to our past, to each other, to our faith. When you make it in your home, you become part of this beautiful tradition. Mamma mia! Look how beautiful! You can tell it's done when it sounds hollow when you tap the bottom. Now we must let it cool completely on a wire rack. Patience, patience, the hardest part of baking. And here it is, our beautiful Italian Easter bread. The eggs have cooked right in the bread, and the colors look so festive against the golden crust. The sprinkles add that special touch of joy. This is not just food, this is art, this is love, this is tradition. This bread will stay fresh for about 3 days in an airtight container. You can also freeze it for up to a month, but remove the eggs first if you plan to freeze it. In Italy, we serve this for Easter breakfast, often with a cup of espresso or hot chocolate. Some families save it for after Easter dinner, to enjoy with a glass of sweet wine. Perfetto, soft, sweet, and full of love. This is the taste of my childhood, the taste of tradition. Remember, when you make this bread, you're not just baking, you're keeping alive a tradition that goes back thousands of years. From the ancient Greeks to the Romans to the Italian villages, and now to your home. So this Easter, gather your family, your children, your grandchildren. Make this beautiful bread together and create memories that will last for generations. This is how traditions stay alive, through our hands, our hearts, our kitchens. From my family to yours, Buona Pasqua, Happy Easter.